got a couple questions. This is a Q&A one. Jeff, what would they type in today?
Yeah, so when you're doing remodels or new home construction, what are things that are worth spending extra money on for kind of the higher end or a luxury brand, as opposed to things that are, it doesn't matter what the cost is, or a doorknob's a doorknob.
Gotcha. So like quality, like what to spend more money on in terms of okay.
Where to focus that
So like if you're building a new house, obviously, I think we use the high. I shouldn't say the highest quality, but we try to use the highest quality materials in everything that we do. But to answer the question, like I would start like if you're building a new house, your roof is the most important. We use the best shingle, and there's a zero compromise on that. Siding, we use the best on that too. I wouldn't skimp on your exterior at all. Where you could save some money, or if you're budget conscious, maybe do more of a lap siding versus like a stone exterior, stuff like that. I wouldn't I wouldn't cheap out on anything, to be honest with you, on your home. Your materials, I don't do much at box stores. Period. If you see me at Lowe's, I'm probably just grabbing a pound of screws or something like that. Nothing against them. That's where I started, but we've leveled up. I've seen value in, like, I think I can name the companies like Builders First Source. I use them all the time. 84 Lumber, I use them for the framing stuff and all that. Reese Wholesale, I get my roofing materials there, stuff like that. But like on the inside of the home, like cabinets. Cabinets are, a lot of them, people don't know this, are made at the same place. They're just branded differently. So I would make sure it's an all wood construction cabinet. I wouldn't get an RTA. I wouldn't get something with plywood like like wafer board, I call it. That if it gets some water, it blows up. I wouldn't skip on that. I would put solid surface countertops in. I wouldn't skip on that. Tile is relatively inexpensive, contrary to what some people think. That's something you can save money on. Flooring, I typically wouldn't go less than a $6 a square foot floor. Some Pergo you can get for $4. I would approve that, or root for that, I should say. But really, it's more the underlayment. There's things that people don't even consider. Like, for example, let's just use Pergo flooring. It's a very standard. Anybody can get it, right? Well, a lot of people will put just this queen and then put their floor down, and they don't want to spend that dollar a square foot for the gold foil that actually gives you a little bit of R value, not much, some soundproofing, not much, but some cushion, and it makes that floor last a long time. They don't want to spend the extra $2,000, whatever the square footage is. You do the math to do that. Those are the things where I'm like, that's a zero comp. Like, we are doing that because that is going to give you the most bang for your buck on all your products. Paint is another one. Not all paint is created equal. A lot of people, it's humorous to me. I'll go to like a Lowe's, or I'll go to Sherwin-Williams, or I'll go to Porter, wherever, and I love hearing people sell their paint, how their paint's better than everybody else's paint. And I'm like, the reality is it's science. You can't outsmart science. So you do get what you pay for on that. And a lot of things, you do get what you pay for. Windows, that's a biggie. I would never skip on windows. Again, that's another myth. And I've been there several times in Wisconsin where they're all made. You see Andersons, Marvins, Jeld-Wens, you name it. You've seen them all. They're all there. But you get a high quality window, something that's got a good warranty. But on the warranty piece, that's only as good as the company supporting it. So if you're buying windows from a very small company, they may or may not be in business in 20 years. A lot of other companies sell out. Like, you may have an Anderson window, and that division may have sold out to Marvin or whatever. But buy a high quality window. You don't have to spend $1 million on them, but you're going to spend some money. It'll be uncomfortable, but it'll be well worth it. You don't want to be replacing windows in 5 years. You don't want to be re-roofing in 5 years. You don't want to replace your siding in 5 years. You don't want to replace your flooring. your cat. Just think about those things. It's very difficult to install. Can you imagine renovating? It's way more money to do that. So the whole ad of "you get what you pay for" is so accurate in this question. Um, Even all the way down to your foundation. Like I've seen guys put foundations in that don't have rebar. Um, it's lightweight it's just not good over time. That's gonna settle. Then your walls crack. You just have problems. So from the ground up, I would not skimp on quality of materials on anything. But there are things you can choose to help match your budget, if that makes sense. Yeah, you don't have to use emerald paint. You could use super paint at Sherwin-Williams. There is a price difference, but they're both quality. Just understand you're going to get a better quality paint, and you got to say, do I want to paint this in 5 years, or do I want to repaint this in 20? Those are the decisions you have to make. But again, I'm not knocking on the box stores because they certainly have a purpose, especially for the do-it-yourselfer. I started there, so I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying from a custom home builder perspective, we have to and want to use the best materials possible. Period. I mean, that's just, and we will not compromise off that. If it costs a little bit more and it costs us the job, it saved our reputation, and that's how I look at it. So we're very, very competitive. We're price conscious, and we do want to maximize your budget. I tell that to every customer. My goal is to maximize your budget. We all have to make a living here, but I'm not trying to get in your wallet. I'm trying to give you as much as I possibly can for whatever budget you got to work with. And when we do get into that budget piece, I tell people, say your budget's $500,000. I'll say I'd figure at least another 50 to 75 because there's some things you may want to change. And on the other side, you can save some too. So again, just be prepared for that shift because every project I've ever done, I've never done one, here's the plans, and just hand me the keys when you're done. That never happens. There's always a change, especially with us at Basham Construction because we make doing business with us easy or as easy as we can. Now, not all customers are created equal and not all contractors are created equal. But what I tell people is I want you guys to be able to feel comfortable to make a decision. Now, just understand this. Any change you make, there might be a little bit of a cost, but more importantly, it's going to slow down the job. That's what I'm more worried about. Everybody wants to be done by X amount of days. Well, there's setbacks, there's weather, there's customer decisions, there's material fell off the train, it got damaged. Yeah, but there's setbacks. So that's what I'm trying to control are the setbacks. But all right, what's the next question, Jeff?
So what are some things in new construction that you've seen where it's a really cool feature that maybe a lot of people don't think about or don't know is a possibility? For example, like a garage backing into a pantry where you can have a little door.
Like the butler door?
Yeah,
we're doing one. Actually, we're doing one right now that's doing that. There's a lot of cool things. A lot of them are hidden. Some of the things that we're doing now, everybody's got a iPad, a phone, something to charge, right? So the charging stations have been really cool. We just did one up in Jamestown, and this couple they were phenomenal. They were awesome to work with. And this lady, I've never seen a kitchen more like thought through than this, like ever, like off the chain. Like this lady needs her own cooking show. And I hope she gets it. But she had this cabinet in the side, and it's just got this little door. And she's like, we're going to have this be a charging station. I said, really? That's a lot of wiring. She's like, I know. But anyway, Ryan from Mission Electric made it happen. He did a wonderful job. You open this door up, and there's 4 or 5 little cell phones, iPads, everything's got a little charger. And I'm like, man, that is cool. It costs a little bit of money, but she's super organized once everything put away. I thought that was a good idea. The pop-up outlets out of the countertops are pretty cool. I got a buddy that's an architect. He's down there in Brown County. He does a lot of really cool stuff. He's done stuff in all the continents. He's been doing 1.25 inch glass at all his kitchens. So you have this countertop, 1.25 inch glass as your backsplash, and you see right. It's like a waterfall to outside. It's the neatest thing in the world. He's a huge Franklin Lloyd Wright style guy. That's been really interesting to me. But there's so many up and coming things that are coming that we don't even know about. But those two items are neat to me. A lot of the kitchen items, like Tony that does our kitchens, he's got a solution for almost any problem. Like the KitchenAid stand that pops up where you hit a button and it pops up. There's a lot of mechanisms happening in cabinetry that's really interesting to me. It all has a price tag though. Anything cool and upcoming's got a price tag to it. So if it's a want versus a need, you have to weigh that part of it out. A lot of our countertops are changing too. Everybody's moving away from the Calcutta that we all have, the white with the gray veining, and it gets boring and trendy. We're doing a lot of poured concrete countertops now. A lot of I call it like infinity tops too. There's lights underneath to make them glow and just add to them. It's kind of endless, to be honest with you, on that kind of stuff. A lot of soffit lighting with we put speakers in there too. If there's a pool, just little touches like that. And I know some people listening is like, "Oh, that's old school." Well, cool. It's new to me. How's that? But
What do you think about heated driveways and sidewalks?
if you could afford it, I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, is it
Yeah.
worth it? Like, do they work well?
If you don't like shoveling snow, it's worth it. Yeah. We did a 10,000 square foot barn in floor heat. You do not want to see the price tag of that. However, the function of that place, it's a shop. It's like people are waiting in line to work there. So there's that. You build a facility that's so state of the art that people are like, I just want to work there. That's kind of neat to me. In floor heat's been around forever. It's just it's costly. It's just very, very expensive. But we do a lot of in-floor heat now in our bathrooms, electric heat in the tile. It's kind of nice. People step out of the shower. It's 72 degrees on their feet. They're not cold. Believe it or not, that's more affordable than you think. We offer it on every bathroom. I'd say about 30% of people take up on it. Latta Creek puts a nice product out. Schluter puts a nice product out. So yeah, there's a ton of things. We could talk about that for a while, but I'd say cabinetry, they've got a ton of gadget stuff for that. Appliances have come a long way. Everything's tied to your phone. But yeah, in-floor heat in the driveways. You could definitely tell who's got it and who doesn't. But I don't know that I would spend the money on it. But I've got a young son that likes to shovel snow. Anyway, that's a great question, though. But if I've missed it and there's something cool, tag me on it. I'd love to check it out. So thanks for the question, guys. And we'll answer these probably every month. Probably grab 3 or 4 and answer them. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys later.